Pardon my sweaty grease. I just got back after playing pickup basketball. I was an unstoppable force of nature on the court, a 3-point machine, and also my drives were second to none. I was a wheelin' and dealin', squirtin' and squealin' animal out there. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I just wanted to explain why it looks like I just took a bath in a vat of cooking oil. What I want to talk about today is E3, and even more than that, gaming conferences in general. E3 used to be the biggest name in gaming that everyone would look forward to every year. It was a huge convention that'd be held where they'd show the latest and greatest from the industry, trailers, they'd even have playable demos and everything out, all these booths set up where you get to meet people in the industry, and just a really big celebration of things. And some unforgettable moments have happened at E3, some huge announcements, and of course, who could forget the iconic time that Ubisoft brought out Mr. Coffee, who used to do this. So E3 is something that used to be beloved, but now is kind of just this fossil. Most gaming studios just hold their own conferences now where they play their trailers. You have like the State of Play for Sony, Nintendo Direct, where they talk to you like you're actually lobotomized, but they always get out all the information they want to. So it's kind of just obsolete to have E3 in the modern landscape. And even still, there is Jeff Keighley who hosts something very similar. He hosts multiple productions that are kind of similar to E3, like the Summer Games Fest, where he gets a big bunch of developers together to, do world premiere trailers and stuff. And he kind of dances on the grave of E3. He has stepped in as like the savior of these kind of gaming conferences. He streams them all and he crushes it. But E3 itself just can't find its footing anymore. Most people just don't care. It was supposed to be coming back around this year for the first time since 2019, but a few hours ago they announced they're going to be canceling it yet again. And the reason for its cancellation isn't surprising, but it is pretty sad to read. They're canceling it because they said there's just not enough interest in it. And that's super true, but man, reading that just, it feels bad. Because this used to be a titan. E3, I mean, even non-gamers had heard what E3 was and probably even watched it still. It used to be so big. And obviously it went away for a while because of COVID. They couldn't have these big convention spaces to be holding E3, so that was the reason why it was gone for a couple of years. But, since then, they just don't have the interest. And since there's not interest there, it makes it pretty unreasonable to try and do it anyway. That just feels even more pathetic if they were to do it and no one really cared or showed up or watched it. So I do understand it, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because where did it all go wrong for gaming conferences? It's a question that nobody is asking because we all know the answer to it. The reason gaming conferences have kind of died out is because there's just no reason for them to exist anymore. Everyone has unlimited access to information at all times, at every hour of every day. And it's actually probably just more beneficial to just drop the trailer yourself or do it at like your main developer conferences that they all now do, like, Sony with the State of Play again, for example. There's just no reason to wait for E3 to do the grand reveals because you don't really stand to gain too much from it. Back in the day you did because that was the event that everyone would watch. You couldn't really just stealth drop your trailer on, E-Bombs World or anything. No one would fucking see it. So you'd wait for E3 to roll around to get people hyped, get people interested, and reveal your projects. But now, you just don't need to. It's unnecessary. It's redundant. In the emails, they said that the 2023 version simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute it in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry, but they remain committed to the advocacy work, but it doesn't mention that they're going to undertake the show again in the future. So they don't make a mention like, all right, this year was a bit of a stinker that kind of flopped, but next year, 2024, E3's coming back with a vengeance. They didn't say anything about attempting it in the future, so maybe this really is the end of them trying E3. Who really knows? But again, E3 has kind of become like YouTube Rewind. No one really cared about it and just kind of fizzled out. In fact, YouTube Rewind went out real sad as like the most disliked video on the entire platform, and then they canceled it then. But it was something that was already kind of on its way out in terms of public interest anyway. They continue in the email saying that it was a difficult decision because of all the effort that them and their partners put toward making the event happen, but they had to do what was right for the industry and what was right for E3. So they said, we appreciate and understand that interested companies wouldn't have playable demos ready and that resourcing challenges made being at E3 this summer an obstacle that they couldn't overcome. And for those that did commit to E3, we're sorry we can't put on any showcase you deserve and that you've come to expect from ReedPop's event expertise. So again, just shedding more light on it. They didn't have the interest, and as well as a couple other obstacles, it just didn't seem worth it for them. And I think they made the right decision canceling it. I probably would have still watched it regardless, just because of the nostalgia. It has been a long time since it's come back around, and I would have liked to see, if they brought out the big guns. They announced fucking GTA 7, right? Like, they go crazy. Maybe they finally show something from the new Elder Scrolls. But apparently that was not going to be the case. They also didn't have playable demos at the convention center ready or anything, so it looked like it probably would have just been a weak event if they did try. It probably was the right call not to. And I think the obvious big reason why this was never really going to work out well this year for them is because when E3 was announced, Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation all said, nope, we're not going. So taking the wind out of their sails immediately, and then Ubisoft apparently also said they wouldn't be going either. So they already just didn't have huge players in the industry going, so the lineup wasn't going to be strong regardless, which is just, that's rough. You can't really make that work. Like I said, it really is pretty sad that no one gives a fuck about E3 anymore, because I remember how cherished the event used to be and the prestige that it used to have. So it is, just a little upsetting to see where it's ended up, but it's for the best. It really is. The times have changed a lot. It just doesn't offer anything special anymore. There's no real reason for them to keep trying. Jeff Keighley's kind of put the stranglehold on big gaming conferences outside of the developers. So it's just a tough space to compete in now. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because I know a lot of people watching this probably also used to love watching E3. So I wanted to give you the latest from, the fallen behemoth here. And that's really about it. See ya.